Evening, Patriots. Me again, Shannon Fox here, the Devoted Patriots 2, and I've got a buttload of information for you. I'm going to talk about Mr. Christopher Wray and a little bit about Kash Patel as well. If you don't know, Christopher Wray is in process of resigning. Kash Patel is going to take his job away from him, in so many words. Trump has put out a statement about it. He said it's great that Christopher Wray is resigning. My dilemma is Christopher Wray going to be held accountable for everything he has done to be a treasonous character to our country? He has lied before Congress 100 times, if not 200 times. He has done everything he can not to look into the investigation, into so many investigations that needed to be looked into as FBI director, and things like the Trump assassination. They don't seem to have any answers for anything like that. Now, about a year ago, Captain Clay Higgins, one of our great representatives, was asking FBI Director Christopher Wray and Mayorkas same questions back last November, or actually 2 Novembers ago, about the FBI informants or FBI agents inside the Capitol on January 6th. I'm sure you probably remember this video. I played it several times, and I just want to start this video with the fact of Christopher Wray lying on the stand. We all knew it then, we know it now, and we've got confirmation that he lied with one of the many reports I got to bring to you here today. I'll try to get through this as quick as possible, but there is a lot to it. And I will let you know there's 2 articles on the Gateway Pundit about FBI Director Christopher Wray, and one of them is about 3 pages long with just the amount of information in it. I'll do a little bit of highlight on that, but you are welcome to go over the Gateway Pundit after you watch this video and actually get a little bit more of the meat and potatoes of all the details. There are so many different things that are affected by this January 6th situation. People that have been locked up, people that have been wrongly accused, the government's deceit in all of this, the January 6th committee and their lies and shenanigans, the charges that were brought against Trump. There's so many things that are tied into the fact that there was FBI informants at the Capitol on January 6th, inside the Capitol and outside the Capitol. Call them confidential informants, call them FBI agents, whatever they are. They were working for our government to help facilitate this problem on J6, this riot. And there's no doubt about it. It's been an obvious thing to a lot of us for a long time, but now the rest of the public is fixing to get to hear the whole story. These lefties that believe that January 6th was created by Trump are going to find out here in the next several months that this story has got a lot more, it's like a blooming onion. There's more to it, more layers to it than you can actually imagine. And we're just now fixing to get into the best part. The exposure phase, and not just exposure for what we need to know, but the entire country needs to hear. Let's go ahead and get into it. Will be a little bit of a long video today. I can't help it. There is a lot to this, and I will skip over a lot as well. But you're welcome to go over to the Gateway Pundit and check out both of those Gateway Pundit articles about Christopher Wray. Devastating amount of information. Here we go.
Director Wray, does the FBI have confidential human sources? Did the FBI have confidential human sources embedded within the January 6th protesters on January 6th of 2021?
Well, Congressman, as I'm sure you can appreciate, I have to be very careful about what I can say about when.
Even now, because that's what you told us 2 years ago.
May I finish? About when we do and do not, and where we have and have not used confidential human sources. But to the extent that there's a suggestion, for example, that the FBI's confidential human sources or FBI employees in some way instigated or orchestrated January 6th, that's categorically false.
Did you have confidential human sources dressed as Trump supporters inside the Capitol on January the 6th prior to the doors being open?
Again, I had to be very careful.
It should be a no. Can you not tell the American people, no, we did not have confidential human sources dressed as Trump supporters positioned inside the Capitol?
Gentleman's time has expired.
You should not read anything into my decision not to share information.
Director Wray,
confidential human
gentleman's
sources.
time has expired.
I remember that statement very well. He actually everybody, all the Republicans grilled Christopher Wray's ass hard that day. I mean, he took it on the chin, but he lied the whole time. He said he couldn't answer questions. And he basically said ongoing investigations, I think about 300 times that day as well, to try to prevent from actually having to answer the questions. He pleaded the fifth for the most part. But we did find out that he lied that day. And now we know for a fact, due to Inspector General Horowitz's report that just came out. If you haven't seen this, this is crazy. This is the article I was telling you about that is so action-packed, full of just information. It says IG Horowitz released January 6th report, claims FBI had 26 confidential human sources at the U.S. Capitol. Here's the video and photos of these government operatives and cutouts. Now, this is crazy. This is Inspector General David Horowitz released this much-anticipated J6 report on Thursday. Here's the full report released by Biden's DOJ confidential human sources who were working in the crowds in 2021. Okay, let's see here. It says in the IG report released, DOJ admits to 26 CHSs, what we're going to call them, confidential human sources, working that day inside the Trump protest at the U.S. Capitol. The IG report ignored how many undercover employees were also in the U.S. Capitol that day, so the number may have been a lot bigger. According to this report, the DOJ admitted that 4 entered the U.S. Capitol and 13 entered the restricted area, and this is very likely inaccurate. Now, Julie Kelly, great reporter, says, and she's been covering this since day one, we determined that of the 26 CHSs who were in D.C. on January 6th in connection with the event of J6, 4 entered the Capitol during the riot, 13 entered. See, she's got all this information down. She probably knows more than our government is telling us, just because Julie Kelly is one of the people that has been fighting so hard to get these J6 prisoners out of jail. If you don't know who Julie Kelly is, go check her out. She is, this is her mission in life, is to get these people out of jail, and she's a great attorney. I just love her for that alone. These people don't deserve being locked up in this situation. Now, here's a photograph. FBI active duty, colleague number 1, former FBI liaison to the Capitol Police, taking pictures. And this goes on and on and on, folks. It says the House Admin Committee has now released camera 7231 that shows a man described as an active duty FBI colleague or former FBI liaison, John Guandolo, clapping and saying, "This is huge," as protesters ran up the East Steps on January 6th. Yeah, there's no doubt that there was feds all over that place. We knew it from day one. And this doesn't even begin to get into the whole Wray Epps saga. Like I said, this thing is full of information. We all know the backstory of Wray Epps. So I'm sure Wray Epps is trending today. FBI is trending today. Chris Wray is trending today due to all this. It says dozens, if not hundreds, of government operatives infiltrated the protest at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. That's what I believe as well. Below is an ever-expanding list of government operatives, the Gateway Pundit, and others identified inside the massive Trump crowd at the U.S. Capitol. The Gateway Pundit continues to add people to this list as we learn more. Awesome. I'd love to see it. Now, there was many incidences where the FBI showed up at people's houses, no matter what state you were in, beating on your door, got search warrant, taking your ass to jail for trespassing. They went across state lines, the FBI did, in order to hunt people down for what would normally be a misdemeanor in a lot of these cases. But there are so many people that are their life has been turned upside down behind just being at the Capitol that day. It's crazy. It says the FBI wiretapped friends and family members, including children, to spy on J6 parents. I remember that. This guy here is an FBI agent as well. Sedition Hunters was looking for this guy. There's Wray Epps. Megan Paradise, she was also another infiltrator. We believe that she was a FBI informant wearing a MAGA hat. It says Megan Paradise and Wray Epps' female clone caught on a megaphone directing Trump supporters to the Capitol. And then she went in the lawmaker's office and has not even been arrested. See, that tells the whole story right there. Like I said, folks, this story is just tons of information here. Anybody that really wants to dig into this, I suggest you coming over here to the Gateway Pundit and digging in deep. It's deep over here. We'll get into a little bit more about this from another source right quick. Crazy day.
What exactly were they doing? And in fact, some of them, as we learned from this report.
Let me fix my screen here. It has been a crazy day, folks. And there's a lot of things going on, like Trump is on the cover of Time magazine. Man of the Year, I guess. That's good news. Mayor Eric Adams has come out, and after he has talked to our border czar, Tom Homan, he's come out in a press conference and said, we got to find these 500,000 missing children. That's great news that he's actually discussing something that more than just the Republican Party will hear. And I'm glad to see that things like that be exposed, just because that's how we're going to fix these problems. Now, this here, another fun fact, Christopher Wray resigned has agreed to resign as of this week. He may not resign for another month or so, but he spoke about it this week. And just funny enough, today, the Patriot Front, Proud Boy type group, the one that we think are feds, the ones that wear the khakis, well, those boys put out a statement today that says, we're disbanding, we're done. Kind of a weird statement, but coincidence that the feds in the khaki pants have disbanded the same day that Chris Wray decides he is gotta go. Weird coincidence? I think not.
What exactly were they doing? And in fact, some of them, as we learned from this report, entered the restricted area, went into the Capitol. Were they inciting anything? Mm-hmm. Were they enticing anyone to go with them? I really would love to know what exactly they were saying to the people in the groups that they were part of. I also think it's interesting that this report comes out the day after Chris Wray resigns. It seems to me that he may not have wanted to contend with the questions that, of course, are going to emerge from everything that we're learning today. And the other point I'd like to make is something that David Spunch just raised, where he said that Matthew Graves, who's the U.S. attorney here in Washington, D.C., did not prosecute any of those confidential human sources, spies, that did enter the Capitol that day. And his office, Graves' office, did put out a statement and said that they did not generally prosecute anyone who just went into the Capitol and didn't commit other crimes.
That's a lie.
My question there is, what does generally mean? How did they make those decisions? And why weren't those particular paid spies part of that group?
The 23 confidential human sources, just reading through this, Carrie, 3 of them entered the Capitol during the riot. An additional 11 entered the restricted area around the Capitol, to your point. Based on what we have learned so far...
They say 3 entered the Capitol, okay? But they weren't charged, including the girl that was sitting at the desk with the red MAGA hat on. Now, here's my question. They never did get to the question that Christopher Wray never really answered, that should have been a no. Were there already other agents inside the building that we still haven't been discussed, still haven't been released from a report? I don't know, because in the IG report, it did not say anything about feds being inside the Capitol, or even confidential human sources being inside the Capitol prior to the break-in. That's what I'm curious about, because that will tell the story as to how orchestrated it was. Now, the fact that there was probably hundreds of people that were there with malicious intent, including government agents, it's a damn shame. I'm surprised more people were not hurt and killed behind this whole situation, especially since a big part of it was preventable. Definitely orchestrated by our government, just my opinion, but that's what I see. The more we learn, the more we see People like Christopher Wray need to go to prison for trying to set up so many people in this country, including Trump, to lose their freedom. Now, speaking of old snake in the grass, Christopher Wray, here's another report that came out today. It says Christopher Wray reportedly launches a sinister scheme to procedurally handcuff President Trump and his nominee for FBI, Kash Patel, before he officially gets out of there. Oh, I don't have my glasses. Let's see if I can read this. It says the FBI director, Chris Wray, may have read the writing on the wall in terms of tenure, but he has a scheme that could hamper President Trump and his FBI director, Kash Patel's plan to overhaul the broken agency. As the Gateway Pundit reported, Wray announced his resignation on Wednesday after 7 years in charge of the FBI. He will still serve until the end of Biden's term in January. Didn't know that. This news of Wray's departure comes after the reports emerged this week that he is preparing to step aside to avoid getting sacked by Trump. Once officials step down, Deputy Director Paul Abbate will take over on an interim basis until Senate hopefully confirms Patel. But Wray has one last trick up his sleeve. Son of a bitch. Can't stand that guy. He's lied so many times on the stand. I've listened to him in Congress so many times it makes me sick just to hear that guy speak. Christopher Wray has not only stated promoting his senior employees to burrow them within the department. Damn. So he's spreading his people out. But a plan is developing to delay Patel's entry into the agency for months. How in the hell can they do that? Sources within the Bureau said that Wray has begun promoting employees among senior executive services, those who serve within the Bureau's leadership. These sources described this as an effort to burrow establishment figures deeper within the FBI. Sources said a plan is being formulated to delay the new FBI director's entry into the agency for 3 to 4 months. You son of a bitches. Says the Washington Times notes that the despicable scheme has risked given Trump's righteous hostility towards the FBI, but Wray remains undeterred, and Wray might get away with it. If Wray succeeds, Patel will likely have trouble running the FBI effectively, as Wray's deep state goons constantly leak and defy orders without repercussions. This would be a great news to dangerous criminals and awful news for law-abiding citizens. If Trump cannot stop Wray's nefarious plan alone, the task will fall to Congress. Given how many rhinos currently hold office in the House and the Senate, we can really trust our national legislators to stand up for the deep state shenanigans like this and ensure a disruptor like Patel can clean house. Hopefully it won't go down like that. Hopefully there's a workaround for this. This is the first I've heard of this. Pisses me off. Christopher Wray's not only just a snake in the grass, he is a weasel. He is the worst type. And the problem is he's been in government long enough that he knows how to sabotage things, including Trump and Patel's plans. They can be held accountable for it. He thinks he's untouchable. Put his ass in prison. They'll change their tune real quick. You put his ass in prison. Just my opinion, but let me scroll down. Oh, here we go. Yeah, it says the Patriot Fronts announced they will be shutting down the same day that Christopher Wray steps down as the FBI director. Remember these guys, the Patriot Front? It should be called the Fed Front. That's exactly what it is. Now this here is just my idea of a great meme of Kash Patel coming in. I think Kash Patel will get in there. I don't think they're going to be able to delay him 3 or 4 months. They will find a way to get rid of so many people at the FBI, it won't work. That's what I believe is going to have to happen. Last video of the day for you folks. I started watching it. It was great. I paused it. Said, no, I'll watch it with my listeners. It's definitely a must watch. we'll go ahead and get out of here on a more uplifting note than we got criminals running our government right now. All right, folks, y'all ready? I know y'all remember the show The Wonder Years. Well, here's a different version of The Wonder Years.
Okay. What would you do if I sang out of tune? Would you stand up and walk out on me?
I hope I don't get a copyright strike for this.
In a time not so far removed, the world seemed a bit simpler, at least through the eyes of a kid growing up in the heart of America. Back then, we had something special. A culture where freedom of expression wasn't just allowed, it was celebrated. Making fun of each other wasn't about malice, and it usually wasn't even mean. It was a rite of passage, a way to laugh about our differences, unifying us through humor. Sure, there were bullies, but they played an important role. By pushing us, they taught us to push back, to stand up for ourselves, to fight for what we believed in. A clever comeback was like a right hook with a smile.
You play ball like a girl!
It was all part of growing up and learning life lessons that molded our character. Everyone got their turn, and it was worth it. But as time went on, people got lazy. They got soft. The culture went woke, and suddenly everything was offensive. Every joke had to be justified, and the spontaneity of youth was replaced with caution. Our carefree spirit replaced by the twisted calculations of political correctness. Victimhood became a virtue, and cancel culture reigned supreme. Then a miracle happened. God stepped in, and we, the people, stood up. We elected a new president, a leader who promised to bring back the laughter, the color, the soul. This president, with a nod to the past, aims to make our culture great again, a pledge to reignite the magic of yesteryears.
Mr. Donald! Oh my God!
Not just bringing back jobs, but bringing back the joy of unapologetic humor.
This ain't Johnny Carson, motherfucker.
The freedom of expression without the fear of offense. Now we're seeing a renaissance. The music is getting louder again, the colors brighter, and the laughter, well, it's starting to sound a lot like it used to. Maybe it's not a return to the past, but a rebirth of the spirit that made those times so special. So here we are, standing at the crossroads of nostalgia and revival, looking forward to what's next with the same hopeful eyes we had when we first watched the world through the window of our childhood. And maybe, just maybe, we're learning that the best parts of our past can still light the way for our future. And maybe we're about to enter a new golden age, a golden age where the wonder years start now.
Oh, baby, how all I need is my buddy. I say I'm gonna get high.
Awesome video, folks. I love it. I love it. Just to figure out how to bring you something a little more uplifting and near the end. We are definitely turning the page on this Biden administration. This Kamala Harris cackle crap is over. We are about done with those folks. Good riddance. A lot of people are going to be bailing out on their way out the door, including these heads of these three-lettered agencies. But don't worry. Some of them we're going to have to be seeing again when it comes to Kash Patel, hopefully, when he does get in there, even if it takes a few months because of their bullshit delays. Kash Patel's a headhunter. He's going to hunt them heads. No doubt about it. Like, subscribe, and share to What Patriots. Hopefully you enjoyed. See you about this time tomorrow. Over and out.